For the second day in a row, a tense encounter took place in one of the world's key strategic waters. A tanker was reportedly approached by a small craft with 5 people on board 200 nautical miles west of Yemen's Socotra Island, the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations said in a statement. On Friday, a vessel was forced to fire warning shots after being approached by a small boat near Yemen's Socotra Island. A tense maritime encounter near one of the world's most strategic waters. A vessel has reportedly fired warning shots after being approached by a small boat near Yemen's Socotra Island, according to the United Kingdom Maritime Operations, or UKMTO. In a statement, the UKMTO said, and I quote, "UKMTO has received a report of an incident 98 nautical miles north of Socotra. The CSO of a tanker has confirmed that the vessel was approached by a small craft with 5 persons on board. The vessel's armed security team fired warning shots at the small craft, which forced them to alter course. Authorities are investigating." The incident took place days after the U.S. military said that it boarded an Iranian-flagged oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman that was suspected of trying to violate the American blockade, the latest action by the Trump administration to try to push Tehran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Tensions in the Gulf are exploding once again after the United States carried out a dramatic military boarding of an Iranian-flagged oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman, the latest flashpoint in the escalating standoff between Washington and Tehran. According to the U.S. Central Command, American forces intercepted the tanker MT Celestial Sea after suspecting it was attempting to violate the ongoing U.S. maritime blockade on Iran. Footage released by CENTCOM shows a tense operation unfolding at sea, a military helicopter hovering low above the vessel as U.S. Marines descend onto the deck and storm the tanker during the high-risk boarding mission. American officials say the ship was searched, questioned, and redirected before being allowed to continue under altered course instructions. The exact location and timing of the operation remain unclear, but the message from Washington was unmistakable. The blockade is being enforced aggressively. This marks at least the 5th commercial vessel boarded since the Trump administration imposed sweeping restrictions on Iranian shipping in mid-April, just days after a fragile ceasefire took hold. The goal, according to U.S. officials, is to pressure Iran into reopening the Strait of Hormuz and accepting a broader deal to end the war. But Tehran is refusing to back down. Iran continues to maintain tight control over the strategic waterway, allowing passage mainly to countries it considers friendly, while imposing heavy transit costs on others. Critics accuse Iran of effectively holding the global economy hostage through the strait, a route vital for the world's oil supply. The U.S. military says the crisis has already stranded more than 1,550 vessels from 87 countries across the Persian Gulf region. The dramatic interception came just hours after President Donald Trump revealed he had postponed what he described as a very major attack on Iran. Trump claimed Gulf allies urged him to delay military action for several days because negotiations might still succeed. However, several Gulf states later denied knowing of any imminent strikes. Nearly 3 months after the conflict erupted with U.S. and Israeli airstrikes on Iran, the region remains on edge. A Pakistan-brokered ceasefire technically still exists, but on the water, the confrontation is intensifying by the day. With Iranian ports blockaded, commercial ships intercepted, and the Strait of Hormuz still partially closed, fears are growing that one miscalculation could ignite a far bigger regional war. The Strait of Hormuz may once again be turning into the world's most dangerous flashpoint. Iran's IRGC Navy has now released dramatic footage it claims shows one of its attack drones striking an oil tanker moving through the strategic waterway. According to Iran's Tasnim news agency, the tanker was carrying exported oil and petrochemical products linked to the UAE and had allegedly attempted to pass through the Hormuz Strait without what Iranian authorities described as permission or clearance from the Islamic Republic. According to the report published by Tasnim news agency, the operation was carried out by the IRGC Navy using what Iranian media identified as a Rod 3 one-way attack drone. The released footage appears to show the drone striking the funnel section of a large oil tanker while moving through the Hormuz corridor. Iranian media claimed the vessel was attempting to transit the area without authorization. So far, there has been no independent verification regarding the exact circumstances of the incident or the identity of the targeted vessel. The latest footage comes at an extremely volatile moment across the Gulf region. For months, tensions surrounding maritime activity near Hormuz have continued escalating amid sanctions pressure, military deployments, and repeated warnings from both Tehran and Washington. Iran has repeatedly warned that any attempt to restrict its oil exports or tighten military pressure near the Strait of Hormuz could